You know, there's a lot to learn when it comes to music. It's definitely not an overnight process to learn how to play keyboard or to learn how music works. Here at Home with Music, there are several different areas, basic topics, if you like, where we focus our learning. One of the first things that I encourage you to learn to do is read music. And it's not as hard as you might think. I used to teach group piano classes, and I still do from time to time. And I taught the basics of music reading in less than half an hour. Now, of course, it takes longer than that to really master music reading. But you can learn the basics pretty quickly. I also encourage you to learn chords. You can then play songs with the melody and the chords. You start off very simply and you add more as you go. I also encourage you to train your fingers. Develop the coordination that you need to get both hands playing together. I encourage you to learn basic music theory. Learn how music works, how chords go together. We go through ear training. Learn how to identify intervals and chords and so on. And this helps you learn songs more quickly and easily. Now, each one of these areas of study contains several subtopics, if you like. Now, it's not an exhaustive list, but some of the playlists on my channel help you go through these things. So, for example, when you learn how to read music, you've got to deal with the treble clef, and then maybe later on the bass clef. You deal with note values, half notes, whole notes, and so on. Time signatures. Is it 4/4 time, 3/4? Rhythm patterns, key signatures. When you're learning about chords, you learn how they are constructed, made up out of intervals. You learn about triads, different chord qualities, major, minor, diminished, augmented, seventh chords, ninth chords, polychords. There are 36 basic chords, but there's a lot more chords after that. When you're studying technique, you learn to play scales, you learn chord exercises, you play arpeggios, finger exercises. When you're studying music theory, we go through chord progressions, we study the circle of fifths, modulation, cadences, musical structures. We take what we've learned in music theory and use it to analyze songs and classical pieces. When you're studying ear training, you learn to identify intervals. You learn to identify chords. You learn to identify a chord progression. You learn how to play by ear. You learn how to improvise. So under each one of these main subjects, you include all these sub-subjects, if you like. And that was not an exhaustive list. So there's no shortage of musical concepts to learn. And that can be overwhelming. It's like, how am I going to learn all this? But always keep in mind that the greatest musicians never stop learning. But what if you find yourself getting stuck? It's inevitable sometimes. You're going to feel like you're not making progress in any one of these areas. What can you do? When you feel stuck, you feel like you're not making progress, that can really be frustrating. I know, I've been there. I've been there several times in my long musical career. But I have learned several strategies that help me get unstuck and regain my motivation. And I think these can work for you as well. So just a few suggestions. First of all, change your routine. Try a different approach. If you've been practicing the same way for a while, a change of perspective might help. Now, it's good to have a practice routine, but occasionally you've got to change it. Try something completely different. Maybe try to learn a new genre of music like jazz or classical. Another thing is take breaks. You know, sometimes I would get stuck when I pushed myself too hard, and you might be in that same place, wanting to learn so much so fast, but sometimes you just got to take a break, and then you can come back to practice with fresh ears, and that can often make a big difference. Set small, achievable goals. Focus on what you might call micro goals, rather than overwhelming yourself with large slabs of information and abstract musical concepts. Break things down into tiny, manageable chunks, if you like. For example, if you're learning a song, focus on learning one section of that song. Or if you're learning a specific technical skill, focus on that for a while. Track your progress. keep a log of your daily practice goals and developments. And this can help you visualize progress over time, and then you'll end up feeling more motivated. Another thing you can do is reflect and reassess. Sometimes feeling stuck is a sign that there's a deeper issue with technique or fundamentals. Take some time to go back to what you already know, the scales you've mastered, the arpeggios you've practiced, other basic exercises that you used to solidify your musical foundation. Another way to get yourself motivated is to record yourself. Listen to a recording of your playing, and that can often reveal things that you might not notice when you are actually playing. It can be eye-opening, and it can also show areas of improvement that you didn't realize you were missing. You might hear yourself play something and say, wow, I did pretty good there. Try some new learning methods. You can definitely learn by ear. You may have been a piano student who focused mainly on reading sheet music. Well, try learning something by ear. That engages different parts of your brain. Another way that you can get unstuck is to collaborate. I really believe strongly in this. Playing music with others, even informally. It doesn't have to be as part of a big concert or anything, but just getting together and playing with other musicians. That can spark new ideas. It can re-energize your passion for music. Whether you're jamming with friends or joining a local ensemble, singing in a choir, working with other musicians can provide fresh inspiration. Another way to get unstuck is to get feedback. Now, maybe some of you are taking lessons. And if you're not, then consider taking lessons with a teacher who can offer guidance. That's one of the things I do here, is offer guidance at Home with Music. Sometimes all you need is an external perspective to see where you might be going wrong or to show you a new approach. If you become a patron of At Home with Music, you can have direct access to me. You can message me through the app and ask any questions you might have. I can help you and provide some guidance. Another way that you can get unstuck is to join a community. You can participate in online forums. You can attend a masterclass. You can join a group of like-minded musicians who can give you feedback, share resources, or just provide moral support. Another way to get unstuck is embrace the process, not just the outcome. Remember that progress is not always linear. You're not going in a steady incline, getting better and better. It's easy to feel stuck when the results don't come immediately. But progress in music, it can be gradual. Now, some days you might feel stagnant, but that doesn't mean you're not growing. And so you need to learn to be patient with yourself. Boy, I've had to teach myself this because I'd get really frustrated and just bang things around. Everybody goes through phases of stagnation, of getting stuck. It's part of the process. And taking a step back to reassess or even just focus on enjoying music rather than pushing for perfection, that can be restorative. Explore new inspirations. Listen to new music. I try to do this every day. Sometimes a fresh musical influence can reignite your passion. Listen to music outside of your typical genre. Explore new composers, artists. Attend performances and concerts. Get out there and experience live music. That can really inspire you and remind you of why you started learning music in the first place. Even seeing someone else's performance can spark new ideas. Now, maybe your goal is not to get out there and perform, but watching somebody else perform can remind you of how much fun it can be. Stay positive. Stay open-minded. Feeling stuck, it can sometimes be a mental block. Try to maintain a growth mindset. Mistakes are seen as opportunities to learn rather than obstacles and things to be avoided. You need patience and persistence, and celebrate your small victories. Every time you sit down and play a song, anytime you practice a little bit, that's a step forward, even if you don't see immediate progress. Celebrate the small wins, whether it's learning a song that you'd never played before or playing it a little bit better than you did yesterday. And occasionally you may need to just take some time away, step away for a bit. I've done this many times in my career. If you've been feeling stuck for a long time, take a short break. And that might give you the perspective you need. Sometimes a bit of distance can make you realize, remind you of why you love music. And that will bring back your enthusiasm. Also, you can help yourself get unstuck by engaging in other creative pursuits. Do something creative outside of music, like drawing or writing. Or for me, it's cooking. I love to cook beautiful meals for my wife. Sometimes that can open up new creative channels that help in your music making. I've emphasized this before. Embrace imperfection. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Boy, I've made a lot of mistakes just playing the wrong notes. But perfectionism can lead to feeling stuck. Embrace the idea that mistakes are part of learning and growing as a musician. In fact, some of your most important breakthroughs might come from moments of failure. So don't let yourself get discouraged. Progress in music can sometimes feel invisible in the moment, but with a little patience, experimentation, a shift in perspective, you can push through the feeling of being stuck and come out on the other side stronger. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you. I like to encourage musicians as much as teach them, because I think what you're doing is valuable. It adds beauty to the world. It's good for your mind. It's good for everything in your life. So keep going. Don't get discouraged. Don't give up. Go back and listen to this again if you feel the need to get yourself unstuck. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support my work, you can go to my Patreon page. You can contact me directly through Patreon if you become a patron of At Home with Music. And I will offer you all the help that I can to help you enjoy making music. By the way, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You know what to do. That helps YouTube send my videos out to more people who may also want to discover the joys of making music. Thanks again, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one.